Photo editing with Snapseed. Snapseed is a free app by Google for iPhones and Android mobile devices. It is not available on computers, no Windows or Mac. It is a mobile, but it does work on Chromebook because Chromebooks can run Android apps. So we will show you that. First, I just want you to know that it's not just me that thinks Snapseed is great. Here is a quote from Android Authority. This is the photo editor we recommend first, followed by Adobe apps and then everything else. And the iPhone Photography School says if you're new to iPhone photography, this should be the first photo editor app that you download and use. So you do need to install it. It is a separate app. It's free from either the App Store on Apple or the Play Store on Google, and it is called Snapseed. I have no idea where that name came from.
I don't either.
I've been meaning to research that. What is Snapseed? I don't know. Maybe the photo that you snapped is just the seed of the photo that you can make when you know how to edit it correctly.
Yeah, maybe.
So one of the first things, after you install it, you should check the settings and make sure that it is not resizing your images. You don't want editing to lose you quality. So let's do it. Snapseed is by Google. It means it works in conjunction with Google Photos, but for the most part today, I'm going to use it as a standalone app. So even if you don't use Google Photos, you will be learning how to do things from me today. So using Snapseed standalone, and I'm going to start off by using my iPad because it's a nice big screen for working with. So here is my iPad, and notice this icon, this flowery multicolored icon, that is the photo app that comes with your iOS device, your iPhone or your iPad. I don't use that much. I use Google Photos. That's this pinwheel looking thing. But then there's Snapseed. That is the green leaf icon, and you get it from your app store. So I'm going to open up Snapseed, and then it just tells you to tap anywhere to open a photo. But that photo must be on this device, so I made sure to put the photos I want on this device, and it's in albums. And I'm just going to show you the simplest thing that you can do with Snapseed, and it's called looks. So here is a photo that I love this photo. It's Jim walking on the beach, but it's so dark. I opened the Snapseed app. I opened this photo, and the first thing I get all along the side here is called looks. And here is a look called morning. One tap. Is that a nicer photo or what? One tap. It's kind of like a filter. Other apps call them filters. Snapseed calls them looks, and I'll explain why in a minute. If you like the look, you tap the check mark. If you don't like it, you cancel it with the X. I like it. I tap the check mark. Now I want to save it, and that's this bottom button. But let me explain why do we just have these little icons? You might not know what the icons mean. Well, watch this. If I'm working with the Snapseed in a vertical orientation, I see three words: looks, tools, and export. So those are the same things in the horizontal version. This top one is looks, the pencil is tools, and the up arrow is export. So if I want to save it, I tap export, and then you have a couple options. I think that the true export is the best. It creates a new separate photo. All right. So let's do that one more time with a different photo. I tap Snapseed, and now it remembers the photo that was there before, but there's an open in the upper left-hand corner. Open. And I choose another photo, open from device, albums and recent, and open, from device, albums and recents, and I will pick this photo of the Navy Pier in Chicago. And it's kind of dark. I can tap on the looks button, which is this top one, choose that morning, and that looks a lot brighter and livelier. I can say, yes, I like that, and then export and export. So that's the very, very basics of how Snapseed works. You open Snapseed, you bring in a photo, you can use the easiest thing, which is just the looks, and then save it. So that was using Snapseed in a standalone, and notice if you are using your device in horizontal mode, you see looks, tools, and export. Or no, in vertical mode at the bottom you see looks, tools, and export, or the other way around, you see the little icons that still stands for looks, tools, and export. When you're done, you need to save your edits. And as I said, there's a couple different ways to save. If you're going to use this a lot, you might get used to using the save or save a copy, which when you bring it back up, makes your edits re-editable. But I like to make absolutely sure that my edits are readable by any app, so I use the export option when I save an edited photo. We demoed using looks. We opened Snapseed. We tapped plus to open a photo. We chose a look, tapped check mark to accept it, and then we saved with export. But there's so much more. Look at all these tools. 4 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 30 different tools that you can use with Snapseed. There's no way I can show you all of them. I've never even used all of them, but I do want to show at least 6, say. We're going to do tune image, details, perspective, brush, healing, HDR scape, and then if we have time, we will do a portrait and head pose. And then I want you to understand what using the stack means. What the stack is. So understanding stacks. If you have used Photoshop, you might be familiar with a concept called layers. Stacks is the term that Snapseed uses for that. And you can change anything in the stack. Now, even though we only applied one look so far, each look actually applies several different tools. So I want to show you the stack. for the pictures that we've already done. So back to my iPad, I'm going to open Snapseed, and with this photo, all I did was apply the morning look. But if I tap on this little button up here, represents stacks or layers. If I tap that and then tap View Edits, in the lower right hand corner now, you're seeing one, two, three, four. So that morning effect applied white balance, details, curves, and tune image. And if I decided, oh, I don't want to change the white balance, I can tap on white balance and then the trash can. And then the back arrow to say, okay, I'm done. That white balance was apparently a very important part of that look because it looks bad again. All right, so that's just for you to understand what stacks means. It's the different edits that have been applied to a picture. So now I'm just going to go through a bunch of pictures and do the things that I think make them look better. First one is HDRscape. If we have any, what I call real photographers in the audience, you might know about HDR. If you use an SLR camera to do HDR, HDR stands for High Dynamic Range. And what you do is you take at least three exposures: an underexposed, a normal, and an overexposed. Then there are lots of software that put those three together to make an HDR, and they are extremely rich, almost three-dimensional. Whenever you see a professional photographer's photo that you just go, wow, odds are they used HDR. With Snapseed, you can take any regular photo and apply an HDR feature. This is an iPad. This is an iPad mini that I'm using here. Can you see, my hand with it to give you an idea of the size? So yes, it's nice to use the iPad because it's a little bit bigger than a phone. I go into Snapseed and I want to open a new photo. I am going to open a photo that we took down in Miami. We were visiting friends on a boat in Miami. And I thought this sunset was just such a beautiful view. Look at those palm trees. But it's dark. And I don't want to you could lighten it, but watch this. I'm going to go to Tools and HDRscape. So it's going to do the equivalent of those three exposures put together. HDRscape. Boom. You now see the boats that you didn't even see before. And if I want even more, the way Snapseed works is you just rub to the right to get more. So I'm just going to rub my finger over to the right. You should see that the boats get even brighter. If I rub to the left, you'll really understand the difference. If I rub all the way to the left, it's back to just not seeing anything. So you can just rub your finger left or right to get the amount of the feature that you like. I like that. I tap the check mark. I export and export. And that is HDR. One more example of that. I'm going to open another photo. Open from Device and Albums. And hopefully I can find this photo of some of the old cars in Havana, Cuba. So we visited Cuba, and I just took this picture down a residential street of these cars. And, it's nice, but watch this. I'm going to edit or Tools, HDR, and that's much better already, but I'm going to rub over to the right. I'm going to accept that with the check mark, and then I also want to crop it. Snapseed also has all the basic editing tools that every photo editor has. So here's the crop, and I'm just going to get closer to those cars and check mark, and yes, I like that. Now, I want to see what my original looked like. I can just long press. There's my original. When I let go, I see my edited. I hope you agree. The edited is a better picture. That was still HDR. Let's go to another one. So, okay, I'm going to open another photo. Open from device, albums, recents. And this one of the Gateway Arch. If you've ever been to St. Louis, Missouri, we snapped this picture as we were crossing the Mississippi River. Mississippi, right?
Yeah.
Or is it Missouri down there?
Mississippi.
Okay. And that is the Gateway Arch. Cool shot, I think, but kind of dull. I could do an HDR on it, but there's another one up here under Tune Image. The very first option in the tools of Snapseed is called Tune Image. Now here, you have to know a little bit more about Snapseed. In order to see your options, you can rub your finger up and down. There are several options in the Tune Image. So I especially like this one called Ambiance. It's kind of a kinder, gentler HDR. Sometimes that HDR feature can be too much. Go to Tune Image, choose Ambiance, now rub to the right, and see how you can see more detail in the trees. You get more blue in the sky, but without any harsh effects. Maybe this could be brightened a little too. I'll rub my finger up and down, and I see that one of the image tuning options is brightness. Let's rub to the right to make it a little bit brighter. Okay, I like that. And I think that's enough for Tune Image. I'll check mark. I'm going to use another tool. Tap on Tools and the second tool. And I think there's a reason why this is the first and the second tool, is because they are the first and the second tools you should learn and use in Snapseed. Details. Rub up and down to see your choices. You have structure and sharpening. Structure is kind of a 3D sharpening, if you will, and I really like it. I'm going to choose structure, and then I'm going to rub to the right. And see what it does? It gives it a depth and a three-dimensional quality and a sharpness. I like it. I tap the check mark. Now I want to compare that. See, is this a better picture than what I started from? Long press. There's my original. It looks awfully dull now compared to the edited version. Original, edited version. Another tool that can come in handy is Perspective, and it's video number 599. Hi, this is Chris Gould with Geeks on Tour, and this Show Me video is about using Snapseed and the Perspective tool. Perspective. So this is a skyline of New York City, and notice how the buildings are kind of crooked on the edge. So open in Snapseed. And first, I'm going to do morning, so that's better. And then I'm going to go into Tools and Perspective. And all you do is rub your finger up or down, and it will change the angle of those buildings. And notice it even filled in. Did you see? That's how it was sideways. When I got the building straight, it left kind of a hole over here, and it filled in that hole with stuff that looked like buildings. All right. You can also do that with old photos. If you've ever just snapped pictures of old photos, I'll bet you get some where they're not square. Open in Snapseed. And Tools, Perspective, and just rub down until it gets square. You probably also want to crop this one. And then change the white balance. Now that was Tools and white balance and neutral color. So if I just tell it what's supposed, look how it automatically got rid of that yellow. Just by telling it what is a neutral color, it gives it live. Okay, so that's a much better old picture. And save. So for the brush tool, I think I will use my Android phone. Just so you can see, you folks will have the Android phone, can do everything that I just did. This is, there is Snapseed on the Android phone. You have to install it, get it from the Play Store. It's free. Snapseed, and open, and find a photo that you want to edit. Here's one of our sweet little camper van motorhome that we do a lot of traveling in now. And let's say that I want to just make it look better. I am going to use a tool under Tune Image, rub up and down to see my choices. I really like this ambiance. Now I rub right and left. Can you see the difference there? There, that's no ambiance. It looks awfully dark and dull. Swipe to the right, and it's just livened everything up. I check mark, and I could export. I'm not gonna bother. Now another photo that I want to use a brush tool on. Now for that, I'm going to have to go to my Google Photos. And I'll show you how Google Photos can open it in Snapseed. So I go to Google Photos because I'm looking for a photo that isn't on my device. It's from a few years ago. But my Google Photos has my entire lifetime of photos. And it was in New Zealand. So I am going to search and go to my maps to find a photo from New Zealand. And I know pretty much where it was. It was near Akaroa, so I can tap there. And I can see all the photos that we took in Akaroa, New Zealand, using Google Photos. Here's the photo that I really like. This was our lunch, but you can hardly see it. I could do some fixing in Google Photos editing, but I'm here to show you Snapseed. So I tap Edit, and then I scroll over until More. On the More menu, there's Snapseed. Now what I need is, the water is pretty okay, but the lunch is so dark. So instead of applying an edit to the whole picture, I just want to brush on. So I tap Tools and Brush. And now I want to increase the exposure of the bottom part of this picture. I tap on Exposure, and it's set to 0.7. That's pretty good. Now I just rub. Ooh, look at that. Our lunch looks so much more appetizing now. If I want it even brighter, I can tap on this up arrow. Higher is always lighter. And I can rub it some more. It's so much fun. It's kind of like finger painting. And if I like it, I tap the check mark. And then in the Android, because I started from Google Photos, it already knows what photo this is, what edits I've applied. All I have to do is tap Done, and I'm back to Google Photos and my original photo, but know that the saved, edited photo is in this folder. You can go to Folder, the Snapseed folder. So that's if you use Google Photos, but you don't have to. You can use Snapseed as a standalone app. Video number 699. Hi, this is Chris Gould with Geeks on Tour, and I want to show you how I use the Snapseed app to improve my photos. I'm starting in Google Photos, and this is an Android. I'll do it on an iPhone in a minute. This is the picture I want to edit. I tap the Edit button in Google Photos, then swipe over on the horizontal menu until I see More. Snapseed, if it's installed on your phone, should appear there. Now I'm in Snapseed and I want to choose a tool. Tools. And the tool I always start with is Tune Image, the first one. Once you're in the tool, you swipe up and down on the photo to choose the specific option. In my case, I'm going to use Ambiance. Once you've chosen Ambiance, then you rub left or right to increase or decrease the amount of that option. Notice when I rub over to the right, the photo gets richer. You get more detail in the shadows and a darker blue sky. I like that a lot. And I tap the check mark to say I'm done with that. One other thing I want to do with this picture is take out that extra car back there. See, I want it to look like we were the only ones there. That's Tools and Healing. Now I get it so that I see that truck and I just rub my finger on it. And it's gone. Check mark. And I am done editing this photo. I tap Done. And I am back to Google Photos. I can view my results here. Now I'm going to do the same thing using an iPhone. Snapseed works the same, but getting to it and back from Google Photos is slightly different. So here I am in Google Photos. Here is the picture, the original picture that I want to edit. You swipe up and tap Open in Snapseed. Once here, I tap Tools, Tune Image, swipe on the photo until I choose Ambiance, then swipe right to increase the amount of ambiance. I think a fairly subtle difference, but just beautiful. You can look at the difference between your original and what you have now with this button in the top right. There's my original. There it is with the ambiance. I like it. I tap the check mark. I want to get rid of that truck. I tap Tools and Healing. Zoom in a little bit. Touch on the truck. And I don't like how that worked, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. There. Check mark. And there is no done. In the iPhone, you have to tap Export and then Save. And then you have to manually go back to Google Photos. It might take a minute before the photo from Snapseed shows up in your Google Photos, but then it will be next to your original on iPhone anyway. It'll have a new date for today in Android. And that is how easy it is to make your pictures more beautiful using Snapseed. Give it a try. I don't know, it's hard to express how fun it is to use Snapseed, especially when you're traveling and capturing just really cool photos. I see a cool photo, I snap a picture, and then I say, oh, I want to make that better. And Snapseed makes it so easy. So a round trip from Google Photos to Snapseed and back. On the Android, you open the photo and tap on Edit, scroll over to More, and as long as the Snapseed app is installed on your Android device, you should see Snapseed there. You do your editing and you just tap Done. So easy. On iOS, you open the photo in Google Photos and you swipe up, and you should see Open in Snapseed there. When you're done, you tap Export. And this is not available. There just is no such thing as Snapseed for Windows or Mac. However, there is for Chromebook. And why? Because your Chromebook can run Android apps. You need to open the Play Store on your Chromebook and install the Snapseed app. The key is your Chromebook must be able to run Play Store Android apps, Google Play Android apps. You also, to do it from Google Photos, need the Google Photos Android apps. So, Chromebook using Snapseed from Google Photos, you must install the Google Photos Android app, and the Snapseed Android app. Then you can open Google Photos. You have access to your lifetime of photos. You can open them in Snapseed, do your edits, and save. And that's what I'm going to demo now. So this is my Chromebook. I'm just at the, what do you call that? The home page. And I open, well, here. You can click on the launcher and find all the apps that are installed on your Chromebook. And here is Google Photos. So here is my Google Photos, my entire lifetime of photos. I can scroll through and you can see I can go back to September 1955 because I scanned old photos and changed the dates. But I'm just going to stick with current ones. This is a picture of our camper van at a beautiful Florida State Park. But this picture isn't as beautiful as it should be. I can click on Edit. So this is the Google Photos Edit command. And I could do some edits right in Google Photos, but I'm going to go straight to Snapseed. How? This is checking if you were listening. How do I get to Snapseed from Google Photos on the Android app? I clicked on Edit. Now I find More, all the way at the right side, More. if Snapseed is installed on your Chromebook, you can click on Snapseed. And notice that I'm using a mouse. You know, because this is a Chromebook, I have this full-size screen. So here you're seeing me with the actual screen. I can still use the touch screen capabilities, but I can also use the mouse if I want. So I'm going to click on Tools. I'm going to tap on Tools and then Tune Image. Now I can still rub up and down to get my options and choose Ambiance. I don't see any difference. What do I do to apply more ambiance? I'm going to rub the screen. So if I rub to the right, I'm getting more. Do you see that difference? It's subtle, but beautiful. I get more color. I get more detail in the shadows. That's ambiance. If I want to see what my original looked like, long press. Well, or if you're still in process, I haven't saved this yet, then this little button in the upper right shows me my original, let go, and it shows me the edits. I like it, I tap the check mark. And all I have to do, since this is the Android app, I don't have to know how to save it. It's going to pick the one that it thinks is best when I just tap done. I tap done, I'm back to Google Photos, and I don't see the edited photo there. I only see my original. Why is that? It has the edited version has been saved to a folder on device called Snapseed. I would have to make sure that that folder has Google Photos backup and sync turn on. So here on device, if I click on device, I will see the Snapseed folder, and I need to turn on the backup and sync in order for that photo to be included in my Google Photos. But from now on, anything I do in Snapseed will be included, and there it is. All right, now I'm going to show you another cool tool in Snapseed called Healing. See the scratch on his face? There's nothing in Google Photos that I can do about that. Snapseed, I can. So I click Edit, and then More, and then Snapseed. And I'm getting this photo from my Google Photos library to Snapseed. I can click on Tools, the little pencil, and this one is called Healing. It has an icon of two Band-Aids, and I always seem to lose it. There it is. Healing. Healing, the two Band-Aids. And now notice that my mouse has a circle around it. So I think I want to zoom in a little bit so I'm only getting the scratch. And I'll do that with my two fingers. My two fingers on the screen, and spread them so that the scratch is just the size that I want. And now I can just touch the scratch. Is that cool?
That's way cool.
It makes me feel so powerful. I can just touch and heal. The scratch is gone. And I like it. I click the check mark and I click Done. And it tells me that the new photo has been added to the Snapseed folder, and in a minute it will be included in my Google Photos. There. Didn't take long at all. The original with the scratch is still there. The edited one without the scratch is right next to it. Let's just do one more. Here is the pumpkin patch. I think this is a cool picture, but there's this nasty piece of garbage in there. Edit. And more. And Snapseed. And I'll try, and tools, healing, and just click the piece of garbage. And it's gone. Check mark. Done. And we are back to Google Photos. And we still have the original, and we have the fixed version. All right. And I think, I mean, I have so much more, but you can see it all on our website. We have a whole Snapseed course.